O'Neill, 2 L's. I serve the SGC under a General Hammond.
We're explorers. You see, we're from another planet.
The unstable vortex of a forming wormhole. Kawoosh.
Indeed.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Kawoosh, a Stargate podcast. I am Arne, your host. I'm joined as always by...
Oh, I'm supposed to say my own name. Evie! We've been doing this for how long now?
It's for those 5 fans who don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And we are here to recap episode 15 of season 2. It's one of those classics, A Matter of Time, about a wormhole.
Wormholes are a classic staple of science fiction.
Yeah, and they have some pretty cool ideas in this one. So let's dive into this one. The show starts off with a shot in space of a sun, and the camera swoops towards it, and on the other side of the sun, we can see that it gets sucked into a pinpoint. There's a black hole there. We see asteroids flashing by, getting pulled into the black hole. It's very, very cool. And then we also see that a planet is being pulled towards it. And we cut to the planet, and an SG team is running towards the gate. They are being slowed down a little. It's very subtle in the beginning. It's like their voices are slowed down a little bit. And then the further we get along, they start actually moving more in slow-mo. And time is stretching. They reach the gate. They start dialing. And the hole gets closer, and they keep looking at the sky. At this point, we don't really see it. They're just watching something happening off camera. It's a cheap way of doing it.
Sorry for interrupting you. I recognized the episode at this point. I was like, oh, it's the time dilation one. And I was very excited because I remembered it. Because
Yeah.
the further you go... For some reason, I didn't remember a whole lot of season 1. But now that we're in season 2, there's more episodes that I remember.
And this, like I said, this is one of the classics. This is one of the most well-known, I think.
Yeah, and then the further we went on in the episode, I remembered more and more right before it happened. And then, yeah, it didn't turn out as well as I thought it was going to be. So I wonder why it was this memorable for me. Maybe it was just the idea.
I think the idea. And some of the scenes are very well executed.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, there is some bumps, mainly towards the end of the episode, actually. So yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Yes. We're at Earth.
Yeah. So on Earth, O'Neill is talking to Sam, and he wants to know if the wormholes they go through are always there. So Sam tells him that they only form between 2 open gates, and he's confused about the worm part. So she explains more and more about how the wormholes work until he just goes like, "Stop! My brain can't take it anymore."
But I love how, well, I love these two and their banter. And, but then further on in the episode, I do wonder because some technobabble comes up and he immediately understands it. And I'm like, wait, were you playing dumb in that moment?
It's a bit unclear because he always plays dumb. He's always cracking jokes and playing dumb. But when it comes to it, he picks up a lot more than he lets loose.
I think he didn't play dumb, but he picks up on the danger of the situation a lot faster than...
He gets the gist of it.
I think maybe it's the difference between I'm joking around and being unserious, but now that it is serious. Like, maybe it was that. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Also, totally unrelated, the Doctor would love Sam.
Which Doctor? Doctor Who?
Yeah! I mean, come on.
Of course.
They would get along.
They would techno-babble.
Yeah, and Jack would be standing to the side, like with a companion, going like, "You have any? No, you want to go grab a coffee?" While they go, "Yeah, let's just."
She would be so enthusiastic. I would wonder how she would react when she steps into the TARDIS. What would her first words be?
She would totally start thinking out the science and running back and forth and like doing measurements and everything and like asking him questions, and the Doctor would be like, "That's not the answer I usually get, but I'll take it. This is nice."
I'm pretty sure she will ask a question he can't answer.
Or he'd just be like, "Nobody has asked me that ever," and just gets well, what's the answer? "I don't know, but I love that you asked me," or something like that.
Yeah, because the Doctor only knows how to use it, not necessarily how it works. So.
And then Jack will go and he's like, "It's bigger on the outside, it's bigger on the inside," or something, and he's like, "I like you too." Like, so there's got to be fan fiction about this.
Oh, probably.
There has to, come on.
Your next project.
No! Oh god, I have to stop getting new projects. I have to just finish the ones I have.
Yeah. Anyway.
Moving on.
Yeah, the alarm goes off. There's an unscheduled activation, and they mentioned at this point there's 2 teams off-world, and Daniel Jackson is with one of them. So he's not in this episode.
Did you look up why he wasn't in this
I
episode?
looked it up, and I couldn't find why.
Okay.
Maybe he just needed a vacation. No idea.
Well, I just wonder, because the last time somebody was missing, it was for a pretty big deal in their personal life.
Yeah.
So...
Wasn't the actress playing Charé pregnant with his kid?
Well, yeah, but she was really pregnant. Like, what is the timeline on that? Wasn't it?
Well, I have no idea, but that would be my first guess. A birth. But it's not in the usual places. I have no idea, but...
Not in the usual place. Oh, not the birth, you mean the
Like
information.
the information is not in the usual places. Not on the wikis, and those nerds usually put all that stuff in there.
Rude.
Yeah.
We're nerds.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, it's why we're doing this. There is an audio signal coming through, and it is some kind of low humming. So Sam asks to run it through a computer, and they speed it up a couple of times, and it appears to be an SG-10's security code. So they open up the iris, but no one is coming through, and then the gate deactivates. O'Neill then wants to go and mount a rescue, but Hammond tells him to wait. But he says have teams 1 and 3 on standby.
I wrote down, who is this Chevron kid? Because I didn't recognize him. But it's Simmons.
Yeah, we have Simmons returning from Message in a Bottle. So he survived that one.
I didn't recognize him because he wasn't simping over Sam.
Yeah, and they do not mention him by name in this one.
No, but I just like, hey, you're not Chevron guy and you're not Chevron girl. Who are you, secret third person? And it was Simmons. Like, I didn't recognize him. To be fair, all white people look alike at a certain age. It's especially in the military, because they all have the same haircut.
So, after the opening credits, they are preparing a MALP in the gate room, and Teal'c and O'Neill are being briefed by Hammond. O'Neill is worried about Major Boyd, who is leading SG-10, since he was the one that put him in charge and trained him. The MALP goes through, and eventually they get an image, and it's tinted very red. And they also mentioned that the telemetry is coming through even slower than before. So Sam tells, I believe it was Simmons, to run it through the computer and compensate the wavelength.
And then I said, you can't just do that. And then you gave me a whole techno-babble on how it actually does make sense that it was pulled into focus when they did that. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll just... you did the whole thing about red spectrum and information, and I was just like, yeah, sure, I know what you're talking about. 4 years of film school, I have no idea what he was talking about.
So yeah, they managed to compensate the image and pull all the information in, so they get a full color image, but no real-time video. It's just a still frame at this point of SG-10 looking very worried on the other side. O'Neill wants to go in, but Sam tells him to wait and to get a larger image. And this is like where I was kind of confused, because you would think they would have the full frame of the photo, not a zoomed in image, because it's not real-time telemetry. It's what they literally said, but then they zoom out or something, or they get the full image, and then we can see the black hole in the sky behind them. Yeah,
and that's a bit weird, because if time is slower on the other side, you wouldn't have been able to zoom.
Exactly.
You would have been, nothing's happening, and then it would
So I was thinking, like, and why were you only looking at this small part of the photo?
And
it's iffy.
You could have just easily switched to the other camera, maybe.
That would have been,
But somebody probably thought it was very dramatic to be like, "New," and then.
Well, you don't see him zoom. It's like the cut and the picture is
now
wider. But we're overthinking it, because it's just a reveal. They needed this reveal.
Yeah, and you can't even even if you say like, "Oh, fix it in the cameras," you can't even see a black hole. So the point is moot anyway. So
yeah, very true.
I mean,
you have to
like there has to be a certain level of playing with the science.
It's also very much the 90s idea of a black hole in how it looks. Like, we know now that it doesn't look like that, and you don't actually see the black hole itself and stuff like that. But yeah,
I always love when we go like, we know now, because in 30 years we will know other things now, and what we know now will be.
May even be
obsolete.
incomplete or
wrong.
Obsolete.
Yeah. Obsolete is the word I was looking for.
O'Neill still wants to go in. Oh no, sorry, we just talked about that. They get the larger image, they see the black hole. Hammond asks why they don't just dial home. Sam says they are doing that. And O'Neill is the one who says like, oh, time is slowing down. They are unsure about what to do because, of course, they will get pulled apart. SG-10 will be pulled apart by the black hole. And Hammond orders to close down the gate. They don't really want to see them die in slow motion, but they, at this point, can't disengage the wormhole. It is staying open.
I do love the moment Sam says, like, sir, we're seeing stuff that we shouldn't be able to see, and this is very important for science. That's not what she says, but that's like the gist of it. And then O'Neill basically calls her to order and says, like, we're witnessing good men die in slow motion, Captain. And he so very rarely uses Captain on her. And I love that moment.
It's a good way to snap her out of it.
Yeah, and she immediately goes like, yeah, sorry. So I like that. And then indeed it turns out that they cannot close the gate. Oh no.
Yeah. Outside of the base, the army arrives, and it's obviously stock footage of whatever they shot at the real base, because Cheyenne Mountain does exist. And it's funny because like the soldiers are arming, like they're pointing their weapons at the base and stuff like that, but they don't know what's going on in there.
I mean, it's a solid first step, though, if you don't know what's going on.
And then we cut to the one door in the forest. That's the side entrance of the base.
They have two side entrances. They also have a hatch somewhere.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen that one in a while.
And they go up to one of the guards on the outside, or at least the person who arrives, and he asks what happened. And they said the last thing they heard was that they were talking really slow, like when your battery dies on your Walkman.
Remember Walkman?
And then the guy says he wants to rappel down to the lower levels. We don't know yet who this is because I don't think... Does he identify himself?
Not yet.
Yeah. So I was a bit confused.
Well, the main gist of this scene is not yet who is this new person. The gist is the time dilation is in the base.
Yeah.
That's the gist. And also, if you show this now, people will be like, what's a Walkman?
When your battery dies, it doesn't do that anymore.
No, it doesn't.
It just stops working.
It just stops working.
Because it was a cassette player and it would physically turn a tape. So when the battery died, it would turn slower and the sound would slow down until it stopped. So yeah. Nowadays, when your phone dies, it just dies. Inside, Hammond finds out that his red phone is not working anymore. And
I love how he finds out after he starts talking. He says a whole sentence and he's like, hello? Like, dude, what?
He's so used that they just pick up on the other side. In the gate room, Siler is trying to disconnect power from the gate.
He has this, sorry, but he has this big ass wrench. Yeah. Like, I don't know, that is not, nobody has that wrench, Siler. It's like, I think it's custom made or something.
And they usually walk around with that in the background, yeah.
I just feel like there's a story there that he just said, I need a bigger wrench. And then it just kept growing.
I am going to double check who directed this episode, because Siler and the big wrench is something that Martin Wood would love to do.
Okay.
So I'm going to see A Matter of Time, directed by Martin Wood. I love that. And there's probably wasn't there a second guy next to him?
Yeah.
That was probably the director, because they would do cameos in the background with the big wrench.
So Siler, the actor, is like whenever he hears, oh, it's gonna be that director. Okay, gotta take my big wrench with me. I love that.
So yeah, it is not working. They can't disconnect the gate, and Sam thinks it's starting to draw power from the wormhole because they have gone past the 38-minute window. And they also see that the event horizon is starting to spin. So the puddle you can see is starting to do something weird. And also they lost contact with everything above level 24. So O'Neill says he wants to pull the plug.
And I love that. Like, you have all these techno people around and nobody thought, have you tried turning it off and on again? Which is step one. Like, if everything stops working, that's step one.
Yeah, but you'd have to close down pretty much
a whole
part of the base to do that.
Yeah,
so.
but it does make sense that Jack is the one who, like, hey, I know a trick.
Here's a practical solution.
Yeah.
So he and Siler go and pull the main breaker.
And they go to this place And I love it. It's this main breaker room, and it looks like there's raptors there. Because it has this pipe of, like, we're going to pull the plug, and the lights is going to go out, and it's going to come back on, and there's going to be raptors.
It does look like that, the same place. It has that vibe. Sailor gets electrocuted, and he gets thrown back, and everything starts sparking. And then Teal'c, who was standing in front of the gate, has to jump out of the way as a capacitor starts exploding.
Which, I mean, they say everybody get out, and Teal'c just slowly turns and walks away dramatically, like Teal'c. That's kind of, and then also Siler gets thrown back, which is normal. He's the stunt guy. That's what he's there for. But then O'Neill's like, "Oh no, Sparks! Like, will you just run away, please, sir? Like, what is going on?" And I know it's because you need these cool dramatic shots, but sometimes I'm just like, you could have just.
They needed an action beat.
I know.
When Teal'c gets back up, he's badly burned. And they can see that the smoke is being pulled into the event horizon. So Sam walks up to the gate, and she holds out her dog tags, and they get pulled towards the event horizon.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for those. Like, you could have done that with, like, something else.
Yeah, but she doesn't let them go. She holds on to them, but they go hang horizontally.
Yeah, and then they disappear into the... See, this is what happens when you take too many notes and you don't look at the screen.
Exactly.
They literally vanish.
Okay.
Like...
So yeah, she commands them to close the iris. And then Hammond is walking through the hallway and comes across a team of soldiers led by Major Davies in a first appearance. He will be a mainstay for the series up until the last movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a cameo in the one where they time travel in Continuum. In
the one in which they time travel.
Yeah,
like, this is a sci-fi
series.
series.
Yeah, it's very specific. Yeah. No, but Major Davies is in the opening shot of that movie because they do a really long oneer through the base.
Okay.
And he steps out of the elevator at one point, and that's all he does. He's just there to fill out the oneer.
But is Siler there, and does he have a big wrench?
Probably.
Okay.
Can't remember, but probably.
Probably Siler. All right.
Anyway, Davies tells Hammond that they lost contact with the base and a special ops team was sent in, but they lost contact, and he wants to take Hammond and bring him to the president for debriefing. Meanwhile, in another part of the base, a special ops team breaks in and corners Dr. Fraser, and they tell her that all contact with the base has been lost for 5 hours.
And I just wonder, were they contractually obligated to put her in this because she hasn't been in a lot lately? Because she adds nothing to his story beats. I mean, there's no reason why she had to be there. I'm not saying, like, hey, you shouldn't be there because she's an actor in this series, but I was just...
She has nothing to do.
She has
this scene and then this, like, I think one scene where they take Teal'c out of the medbay, and that's it.
And I mean, good for her for getting paid for this episode, I guess. I just remember thinking, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. And this is how they bring you back? That's kind of... I always felt like they've severely underused her. So then eventually, spoilers, big spoilers, eventually when she dies and they replace her with another character, I'm like, why? It's not like she was really doing anything, so why did you feel the need to fill a gap?
Well,
because for me, there never really was a gap.
They replaced her in season 9.
How do you know this all out of the top of your head?
Because it's when they switched casts.
Okay, cool. Again, same.
And they bring in the new doctor because she has a relationship with the new general.
Yeah, and again, they do nothing with that, to my knowledge.
Not a lot, but they do. She's there specifically for General. I believe it's Landry.
Wait, I mean, yeah, but like back. Like, at my job, we're not allowed to have family in the same store.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me that in military this is okay? That's conflict of interest.
I do believe that she's not immediately under his command.
Oh, that's a trick we use in our store too, because technically it's 2 departments. Like, there's a line that runs through the deli.
Because she's medical.
Okay, yeah, fine. But yeah.
And she disappears in the last season. She's not there anymore.
See, that's what I mean.
But I do think that they contract actors for seasons, and they're obligated to keep their time free to do the series. and they will get called on anyway because they're under contract.
But do they also have a minimum in that contract that they can't just
No,
be blocked off?
I don't think they have a minimum.
So they could block you off and then never call you, and then you would just make no money.
That happens.
And, wow.
On Battlestar Galactica,
Okay.
you had Sam Witwer. He was one of the Viper pilots, and they had booked him for a whole season. I think maybe even 2 seasons, but they just couldn't find anything for him to do. He was sitting in the background. He didn't get any storylines, and he said, I was bored. I was just sitting around in his hotel room. He was not getting called on, and he eventually asked, "Can you please write me out of the series?" And they obliged. They said, "Okay, we're gonna give you a double parter where you die," and then he was out of the series. And it was a shame because he said he loved the show, but there was nothing for him to do.
Yeah, and like it's more than just being bored. Like you're not getting paid, I'm guessing.
I do think they get paid. It's it might not be the same as when you're doing actual days on the show. That's a very good question, actually.
I don't know how to. Yeah.
But he's not allowed to book any other gigs because he needs to be there when they call on him. And that's why I think they maybe called on her because she was there. She was available to them.
Yeah, and it's better to use her than just a random soldier.
Exactly, because they probably were already paying her to be on call. So call her in, get her in the scene, and not pay another actor to do the same thing.
Yeah. It just jumped out to me like, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. Oh, okay, bye now.
I think that's just it. And the strike team believes that the base might be overrun with hostile aliens and that she might be one of them, so they take her with them.
I love how you're like, we're going to check your tags and we're not going to believe the tags. Like, then, sir, why did you check the tags?
Yeah. I was a bit confused about the order of these 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Because Davies says, like, we sent in a team and we lost contact. And I was like, we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
And then we see the team, but of course, this adds a little bit to the confusion, like, oh, what's going on with all the time dilation? So I think that's why they put it in this weird order.
I don't know.
Not sure. Outside, Davies is driving away with Hammond. He informs him that the whole base has been experiencing time dilation. So Hammond tells him that 10 minutes ago they opened a wormhole to a planet with a black hole. So the hypothesis holds water. And they put him on a stock footage airplane, and he will be debriefed by the president.
Wouldn't they just do it in a Zoom call? Like right
yeah,
now?
It was so...
Like, well, maybe not back then.
It does add to the time dilation thing. Like, I flew to DC and back in the time that...
I know, and they can debrief him on the plane and everything like that, but yeah.
But they can even do this over the phone, I would think, even then. Yeah. Inside the base, they are patching up Teal'c as the base starts to rumble, gravity waves. So Sam tries explaining what's happening to O'Neill, and it just comes down to they are in trouble. And he walks out, and then he runs into Cromwell. That's the guy from the Special Ops team.
Yeah.
And he has Dr. Fraser.
And I still do not understand what the idea was behind this character. I don't know what they were trying to do. I just know that they failed.
Yeah. So it becomes clear when you're watching that him and O'Neill have some kind of history. But it is only at the very, very end that we get some kind of explanation, like more of an exposition dump on what actually happened.
Yes, but then
it doesn't really get resolved.
No.
So we'll get there. But Cromwell is a weird character.
The backstory is weirdly placed.
It's actually the backstory that's weird. So.
It's also like we're like 2/3 of the way in the episode right now. Like this is a weird beat to introduce this.
Cromwell tells him that they lost control 5 hours ago. O'Neill takes him to the control room and explains what happened to Cromwell. They do a lot of re-explaining the situation in this one.
I think they
out to me.
I think they were afraid that the public wouldn't understand what was going on, but like we got it. Like time is being wibbly wobbly. It's okay. Just keep going. It slowed down at this point, and at the end of the episode they had to rush again.
Yeah, but they do this a lot.
Yeah.
Sam checks her watch and it reads 13:30, and Cromwell's read 1900. And at the moment that Simmons calls in from the gate room, his speech is slowing down. He says the field is expanding, several G's at the iris. And then Sam explains that the warping of the space-time seems to be in advance of the gravitational fields rather than the result of it, probably a lensing effect by the Stargate. Yes, I paused the episode to write this down.
I had to rewind it and everything. We were like, wait, Sam, no, slow down, say that again. And we were staring at the TV like, what? And then this is a part that they never explain again. Like, this is a part I could have had explained to me just one more time. Or maybe hey, Jack, come dumb this down for me. I don't understand it. Because I couldn't understand why this made it worse than it was.
It's something that Sam finds interesting because they expect it to be one way, it turned out to be another thing.
Yeah, but this is already a once-in-a-lifetime event, so I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, anyway.
Cromwell didn't understand it either, and it comes down to that time is slowing down inside the mountain compared to around it. But yes, we already knew this.
Exactly.
And they are connected with the gravity field through the gate, and it is expanding. Okay, yes, we already knew this. She wants to go up and inform the Pentagon, but at that point, Hammond walks in, having already done that, which is
I think that's why the scene has changed position, because otherwise Hammond leaves and comes back right away, and they have to. I think that might be it.
That might be it. Yeah.
And I love how he's like, I just came back from there. It's like very cool.
Yeah, and it has been nearly 18 hours. And O'Neill goes like, I thought you were on the phone.
Which is just awesome. Also, whoever is going to have to figure out the timesheets to pay all these people after this is going to go insane.
So according to Hammond, the experts want to trigger a self-destruct to disconnect the gate and bury it. But Sam doesn't believe it will work, because she says if it remains active and they can't reach the gate anymore, what then?
I do love that there was this whole there was this whole era in science fiction where the self-destruct was the go-to. Like, you remember, like, it was eject the warp core in Star Trek, and it was self-destruct in so many other things.
It's expensive stuff, guys.
Yeah.
So Hammond wants to evacuate the base, and he needs 2 volunteers to remain behind. And it turns out that O'Neill and Cromwell are the only ones wanting to stay. Jack reacts to this. Does anybody else want to stay behind? Because he has beef with Cromwell. Hammond goes on the horn and orders everybody to evacuate.
What annoyed me, sorry, but he goes on the horn, and before he starts speaking, the screen starts flashing evac. I don't see him pressing a button. Who did that?
Yeah.
Like, did somebody just like, oh, I got you, sir. Like, I know it looks cool, but I was like...
And then we see the doc take Siler. It was Siler in the medbay. They take him out. Hammond gets topsides.
Hang on. They take him out, and Teal'c helps. And they're like, on 3, 1, 2, 3. Huh! Careful for his chest. I'm like, that was the wrong order of information, doctor. Like, maybe start with that. Oh.
When Hammond gets topsides, he's informed that they were in there for 22 hours. Sam explains that O'Neill has to wait 5 minutes, which is actually 6 hours for them, and then relativity gives Hammond a headache. Down below, Jack is watching the feed from the planet, worried about SG-10, and above at night, Sam is working on a whiteboard trying to figure it out.
I love how whenever they set up a temporary camp, there's a whiteboard. It's like standard issue. You have your tents, you have your coolers, you have your whiteboard.
And then Teal'c joins her, and she asks if he knows anything about quantum gravity.
Yeah, I love how Teal'c just always is supportive. Mm-hmm. But his support, the kind of support he gives depends on the person. It's not just I have one kind of support. Like, it's completely different when it's Jack. It's completely different when it's Sam. It's completely different when it's Daniel. Like,
I also like that he's not just a dumb soldier. He is quite knowledgeable. He doesn't know everything.
No, he just says, like, this is not my level of expertise, basically, and that's totally fine.
But he does have some knowledge about advanced technology that they don't know of. So
he still helps in the way that, you know.
So here she explains again that time is slowing down, and it comes before the gravity, and it goes against everything they thought they knew. And she says the plan to blow it up is based on knowledge that might be wrong. Okay. In the base, Jack is preparing to start the self-destruct, and they both have to enter their code, but there's clearly something going on between them. Cromwell is giving snide remarks. and he says to Jack, now you know how it feels.
Which makes no sense. Even when you know the backstory, it makes no sense. Because Jack is leaving a team in an impossible situation.
Yeah, and then Cromwell is later defending himself that he thought he was dead, so it is not the same thing. Yeah,
and also, this is unrelated, but they have 10-digit codes. I cannot remember my passport at work sometimes. Like the fact that you need codes to shut off and turn on self-destructs is very stressful to me. Like, what do you mean this can't be the name of my pet or something like that? You know.
Outside it is daytime again, and Sam explains that their plan might not work. Hammond says they can restart the program with the other gate, and this sparks a thought with Sam. They can make the wormhole jump gates if they overload it, so it would connect to another one, and then they can just shut it down. But they have to hurry to stop Jack. And then in the base, Cromwell is finally confronting Jack. So what it comes down to is that at some point in their history, something went wrong. Cromwell was the leader of the team, thought Jack was dead, took the rest of the team out, and Jack spent time in an Iraqi prison afterwards. And Jack asks him what happened to leaving no one behind.
Which really struck a chord with me, because Leave No Man Behind is such a staple of American military television. But in reality, that is just not. Like, I wonder where that came from. Is that just a TV trope?
I have no idea.
Like,
could be.
Because it doesn't... I don't see people using that in real life.
I'd have to
Or
ask.
is that a claim that does exist in real life? Or is this very much a TV trope?
I have no idea. I would have to ask.
But it just felt weird to me, because I think Jack has had time to think about it. He would have done the same thing in his shoes, I feel. Why is there resentment there?
Because they needed drama. Because if Cromwell really thought he was dead, then he did the correct thing in getting the people out of there. Cromwell also points to the monitor, telling him it's the same situation. It isn't really, because at this point they know they're alive. Okay, they're going to die, but yeah, it's not the same situation.
Yeah, I just felt like all the time re-explaining the time dilation they could have used in fleshing this out, and then maybe we would have gotten it. Like, it feels like we were missing something.
The glass in the control room shatters, and Sam...
Wait. When did Sam come back? Did I miss that?
Now, I was just saying, Sam rushes in.
Yay!
And she has another plan. They're going to prep a bomb to trigger an overload. And Siler is lowering ropes into the gate room, and they are hanging horizontal.
I love that, and I do wonder how they did it.
Multiple techniques. There's shots that are clearly in front of a blue screen.
Yeah.
Where they shoot down. And
but when he's standing up and the rope goes horizontal.
I think they just pull it.
Okay.
And there's also, I think, some sets that are like partial walls that they build sideways and stuff like that.
But when the rope is pulled sideways, then you need a rope that's already like very stiff. Otherwise, you can't do that, right? I just thought it was well done.
You can pull it on one side and keep it tense. As long as nobody goes and hangs on it, it's not going to...
Yeah, I just thought it was well done.
So, yeah, it is well done. And they have several techniques depending on the shot they're going to do. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's really cool. Teal'c arrives with the bomb. Jack says, that was fast. And Teal'c says, it took several days. So, yeah, time dilation is getting really, really bad.
I love how he's like, I get to help. I get to carry this bomb.
They can't trigger it remotely because of the time dilation. So
no, because they need a cool action shot.
I know, yeah.
They can't just... Because it needs to be like at the exact time, and then like... You're just going to lower it, and then, here's fine. Like, it has to be at the correct angle, and like,
they fumble it in the end anyway. So, yeah. Jack and Cromwell rappel down towards the gate, which in some shots is really well done. Some you can see that it's comped, but it's really cool.
It is really cool done. What did bug me is that they're wearing gloves because they're working with ropes, which makes sense. And then Siler and Teal'c are not wearing gloves, even though they're also working with ropes. And then they get rope burn and are confused about rope. I'm like, put on gloves, seriously.
Topside, Simmons brings Hammond coffee and tells them, and Hammond tells the kid that they will know if it worked by tomorrow. Then they have this really cool tilt-down shot from the control room to the gate where they are hanging vertically. And that was one of the shots that I went like, wonder how they did that one. But it was really cool. They are climbing down, And from where Tilk and Sam are standing, they appear to be crawling really slowly. Then a chair gets pulled. It rushes past them, showering them in glass. And then O'Neill decides to set the bomb, and he wants to put it at 20 seconds. The iris gets ripped off inside the wormhole.
Which is clunky.
Yeah, it's CG, but the animation is,
To be fair,
but it's really hard
it
to
is
do
hard.
that kind
It
of
is
stuff.
so
Like
hard to do.
how
And it was
things
in
get
front of a moving, event horizon and everything.
The thing is, they obviously had to animate this by hand.
Yeah.
If you would want to do this and make it look good, you'd have to do a simulation. And I don't think back then they had budgets or even computers that did this kind of simulations. So they had to animate the metal by hand, and it's also only a few seconds, so it doesn't really bother me, but it looked clunky.
Like, overall, most effects really hold up well. So that's why this one stood out to me, like, oof. Like...
There is a glass shard that is in Cromwell's rope, and it rips. Really weird, but okay. Jack
exactly, because he doesn't even sacrifice himself to save Jack. No, his rope just breaks by dumb luck.
And then Jack tries to hold on to him, but in the end he gets pulled into the wormhole. Then Jack starts climbing back up. He manages to set the bomb. Tilk and Sam start pulling him in. Time starts slowing down. The bomb explodes behind Jack. We get a white flash, and that becomes the light in the med bay.
Which was also a really cool transition.
Yeah. And Daniel is back, so he has one scene in this episode.
He's like, hi!
So Tilk pulled him far enough away for him to be safe. Hammond informs them that there is a new iris being installed in some kind of metal that's even stronger. Jack wants to know what day it is, and then Daniel informs Jack that since he reported for duty today, 2 weeks have gone by. And then Jack tells them he wants to go back to sleep.
And then somebody goes, we all made it. And I was like, well, that's rude.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, somebody got sucked into the wormhole.
And SG-10 is still...
SG-10 is just gone. Like, and they don't even comment on it. They don't even say, like, the important thing is we all made it. Like, you made a whole point about we're watching good people die. And even when Sam says we can make the gate jump, like, I would have loved to be like, we're losing the team on the other side. It's regretful, but not even like a little beat of it's gonna happen and we're sad about it.
Especially because they set this whole thing up with Jack.
Yeah.
It doesn't really get a resolution.
No.
How does he feel about Cromwell? How does he feel about what happened? How does he feel about the team being left behind?
Yeah, because he recommended the guy for the job and everything.
Yeah.
It's felt a little bit like what we've seen a couple of times now. We're out of time, we have to rush the ending. But then maybe you shouldn't have repeated the time dilation thing 5 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt clunky.
Although, I did find out that Sally Malcolm wrote 2 books.
Wait, who is Sally Malcolm?
I have no idea. It's a writer. And she wrote 2 books, A Matter of Honor and The Cost of Honor. And it details SG-1's attempts to save SG-10 from the planet. So they did fill in after the fact what they did, but it never gets mentioned in the series as far as I know.
I just feel like if you're gonna make a plot line about Jack and no people left behind and his resentment, and then where's the resolution to that?
I agree.
Because he doesn't even get saved. Like, Cromwell just gets bad luck for getting the shard in his...
Also, does he die? Because the wormhole supposedly transfers him to the planet, so he will end up next to SG-10, or is the time dilation so... I don't know, so...
because the gate didn't jump yet. Oh, but it takes a while for you to go through. It takes like 4 seconds. Mm-hmm. Maybe he jumped, like, I bet there's fanfic about that he just get dumped on other planets.
Also possible, but then he would be able to dial back.
I don't know. He doesn't know how stargates work.
Also true.
Like,
so yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and mainly the thing is, like, if you set up a story arc for Jack with this kind of backstory, then you need some kind of resolution, because this is just weird.
And maybe it just got left on the cutting floor. Maybe it was in there.
I'm not sure, because it starts to be a trend in these episodes that, like, there's no real resolution to some of the themes they set up.
But again, we're nitpicking so much right now.
I don't think this is a nitpick. They put a lot of time into this,
Yeah.
and it just stops. Like, okay, the plot of your episode is done, I get it, but Jack's story is not finished.
Unless this is more like a plot beat they're setting up about the whole Jack has left a lot of people die in his wake, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember too
They never
much.
go that dark.
No. Okay. Well, no, yeah, that's just what I was wondering. Like, is this setting something up? But if the answer is no, then the answer is no. We've been sidewinding a lot in this one.
Yeah, true. We sometimes do this.
So what's the next one?
The next one is the fifth race.
As in the Fifth Element?
No, there's 5 big races in the universe. The Gold, you have the Asgard, the Ancients, and there's another. And then, well, anyway. So they are
What's
trying
the fifth one?
You also have the Furlings. They only get mentioned until the one episode 200.
And you just know that they're Ewoks. I mean, in my head, they always were Ewoks.
They do really look like the Ewoks. And I also love the fact that they introduced them by previously on Stargate. You go like, what? I don't remember this.
All right. And back in the day, you could have easily missed an episode. So you were like, what? What did I miss? Why did nobody tell me about this? And I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. Anyway, we've been talking for a long time.
Yes. Well, it's not the longest we've done. So yeah, next week, the fifth race. And yeah, this one is a really cool idea. Like the time dilation stuff is really, really cool. I could have done without the weird story beats with Jack. But yeah, that's about it, I think. So yeah, see you all next week. Bye.